Hi there, it's Hoang again from SAP Process Automation. In the last episode, I talked about technical monitoring. Today, we want to focus on business monitoring. Business monitoring is about having a clear view on the key performance indicators of my processes at all times in a business user-centric visualization. With process visibility of SAP Process Automation, a citizen developer can simply select the most important data pillars of their processes and embed them into a holistic dashboard within minutes. In this video, I want to show you this capability in detail. If you are interested in the technical monitoring capabilities of SAP Process Automation, please check out the video mentioned in the descriptions. And also, if you enjoy watching these kinds of videos, remember to hit the subscribe button down below to get notified immediately once a new video comes out. But without further ado, let's jump into the software. Now we are in SAP Process Automation. We have accessed our project purchase requisition here. I have created already a few artifacts within my project, but let's jump into the process itself, the purchase requisition pre-approval process. You see, I have modeled a couple of process steps here, the start event on the left side, the end event on the right side. And if you are in the process canvas here, on the right side, there's a panel where you see general information showing the process name and so on, but also there's a tab called visibility. And this is the one relevant for the process visibility capabilities now. We click on the visibility scenario, you see that we are able, in the current version at least, adding up to 15 attributes that can be shown as custom KPIs within the process visibility scenario. And I've already added 3 of them: the name, the quantity, and the approver for the purchase requisition. But now I would like to also add custom KPIs for the material and the ID of the purchase requisition once this has been successfully created. So what I do then is click on the plus icon here on the top right side. I see all the data within my process so far. I can select the material, which has been filled out in the request form. So here on the left side, I click on material and I see I have a new KPI here now. I can give it a label, an ID. This is then relevant for the process visibility scenario. If I'm happy with the label and the name, I can leave it like this and now add my additional attribute that would be the purchase requisition ID. I can also add this into my attributes list here. And now I have altogether 5 KPIs which I'm interested in and including in my business monitoring. Once I'm happy with this, I press save, and now I need to create a visibility scenario within my project. So go back to the lobby. There you can click on the create button here on the right side. There is this element visibility scenario, and then you create a visibility scenario. In this case, I would call it PR dashboard, for example. You can also add a description to this visibility scenario. As I have already created it here on the bottom side, I click on the PR dashboard. It should then open the visibility scenario where I can configure this. There is a plus icon here where I now can embed the process that I want to monitor into this visibility scenario. In this case, I only have one process within my project, so this is the one I can then select. I already selected it here, as you can see, and then all the events and the context of the process are shown. So events being, for example, that the process has started, the process ended, the approval has started, the approval has ended, and so on. But also including the custom KPIs I defined within my process, which being, for example, the 2 new ones I just created, material in this case, and the purchase requisition ID. Now these are part of the context. There's multiple things I can do in a process visibility scenario, such as define different phases. So combining different steps into, let's say, groups can be interpreted as a phase, for example. But in my scenario now for the monitoring, I want to configure the performance indicators. So that's why I click on the performance indicators tab here. At the top side, you can see the indicators that the system has already provisioned me. For example, being open process instances, completed process instances. You should see on the right side how the representation will be in the monitoring. In this case, open instances will be shown as a bar chart. If I wanted to, I can also change it to a donut chart or a list, for example, or a table. But these are not custom specific KPIs. These are overall process instances monitoring itself. My custom KPIs I have already added here at the bottom, as you see, for example, being material that has been procured or the purchase requisition ID. If I wanted to add my new KPI, I can simply press on the plus icon here, give it a title, add an ID, and then it should appear here in the list title. And then now I can select the representation of it. In this case, I want to show the IDs in a list form. That's why I select list. And down below here, I select the data. So I say that it should record each instance. So every time the process is run, and the dimension is the input that is being created in the field purchase requisition ID. And here you should also find other data fields, but mainly all the custom KPIs you identified in the visibility tab beforehand should also appear in this list, such as material and purchase requisition ID. So once this is done, this is all you need to configure within your process. Let's have a look. Well, let's jump back to the process tab here on the left side. I have an error message because it tells me that I need to re-import my process because it has been modified. So this is the stuff that I want to do now. I click on this icon next to the bin here to re-import it. I override existing events and contracts attributes. I click re-import. Once this has been done successfully, let's have a look. I should be able to press save. Yep, and you see the error message disappears, and then I can release and deploy my project. So once I've done that, I need to go into the monitoring tab in SAP Process Automation. I've shown you guys this in the video on technical monitoring beforehand, but once you deploy the process, as you might recall, you click on the visibility scenario tile here, and there you should see your process visibility scenario. In this case, I call it PR dashboard, as you guys remember. And here I need to activate the schedule so that all the events are being pulled every 5 minutes. I also note down the ID because this ID I can now insert as a tile within the Launchpad service. So what I do is now copy this link and use it later in the Launchpad service. So now moving on to the Launchpad service, I'm at the site directory now within the Launchpad service. I can go to the content manager. You see under Content Explorer the specific applications that have been created by SAP for SAP Process Automation. You see things like the process trigger, how do we start a process with a form, or the My Inbox to do an approval. But you also see applications related to process visibility. Process Workspace, for example, is a summary of all visibility scenarios that have been deployed within SAP Process Automation, while, for example, Visibility Scenario Dashboard, you can create a specific tile for only one process. And this is what I would like to show you also. So I click on my content here, I scroll down to the bottom, to the end here, and you see I see Visibility Scenario here, right? Visibility Scenario Dashboard. I click on it. And here I can use this app and create a copy of it. I click on the top right side, create a local copy. It creates a local copy for me. I can edit this copy now, give it a specific name, such as PR dashboard. This will be the name that is being shown on the tile. I can go to navigation, and now here it asks me for a parameter for the scenario ID. And this is the ID I just copied over from the monitoring side within SAP Process Automation. So what I do now is under default value, I just simply right click and paste in the ID that I just created over. If I wanted to, I can now press save. If I wanted to add, customize anything on my tile, I can also go onto visualization. You see now under preview, this is how my tile will look like. I can add a subtitle or additional information on the tile, or I can, for example, change the icon, right? So these glasses, I'm not really happy with them. I can change them, for example, to anything else, such as the computer sign here. And you see, it will change, and this is how my tile will look like. And once I press save, once I have assigned this app to a group and also manage the authorization for people to access this app, I can then go onto my site directory itself and access the Launchpad, which will look like this, for example, right? So I have multiple applications on my Launchpad service now. You see the process visibility, process workspace tile here. Let's have a look at this one. This will show all visibility scenarios within my SAP Process Automation tenant. You see I have 9 deployed so far. The PR dashboard is one of them, but I can also click on any other one of these ones. I can search for one. If I have a long list, let's say hundreds of these visibility scenarios, I can search for them on the top right side here, or I can click on one to see the details of them. So for example, I click on this one, and as you see, this one has these types of information. It's a different process, and yeah, you can click on more details in this process. But this is not the one that I wanted to show you. For our one, this is our PR dashboard. I can click from here, from the process workspace, to see the details. But I would like to also show you, if you have done the configuration steps beforehand to have a custom tile, this will be the custom tile. For example, you will have a purchase requisition dashboard, you adapted the icon, you adapted the descriptions and so on, and you can access the dashboard straight from the Launchpad entry level, right? And this would be our dashboard here. You see that our custom KPIs, such as material, is also shown. So I can see in a donut chart that the material which have been procured. I see that iPhones have been procured 10 times. I see that MacBook have been procured 20 and 21 times, for example. And I can also see the purchase requisition IDs which have been created in the backend systems. If you want to see more details on, for example, the procurement of iPhones, I can click on iPhones here, and you see in a list all processes which have where an iPhone has been procured as a material. You can see the single process instances here who have approved this, for example, this procurement, how many iPhones have been procured in this process, and who, for example, has been the person procuring this. I also added some additional KPIs, such as the duration of the process itself, and if I wanted to, I can also click on this specific process instance and see a little bit more details there. Here you see that this process is in the critical path. It's in the step approval currently, and if I click on the right side, you can also see how in which step have been already successfully performed and in which step we are at. In this case, we are in the approval step. And this in a nutshell is process visibility. As you see, we can quite simply, during process modeling, add the KPIs that we want. We can also then select which type of visualization we want for our single KPIs. In this, for example, for the approver, I selected a column chart. For this one, I selected a donut chart. And also in this business monitoring here, I can go into details for each process instance itself.